One day, whilst working together on a large tapestry in the workshop, my colleague remarked on the concrete arch embedded into the wall. Ever since the first time I visited this building, I have wondered about that strange arch. I know little about buildings, but even then, I can tell that this fragment was much newer than the wall that surrounded it. She mentioned something about a man with a strange name, Fu Manchu, but she refused to tell me more. The arch is not the only strange fragment in this building. There are similar fragments dotted around: columns, doorways, windows, walls, etc. There are at least 20 of these pieces. While the arch embedded in the external wall appears to be solid and weighty, fragments embedded into the interior walls are hollow and translucent. Something about Fu Manchu, perhaps the sound of the name, stirred up my imagination. On the internet, I found out that he was not a real person, but a fictional Chinese supervillain that was a subject of a number of novels and films in the 20th century. I asked my niece to take me to the local library. 50 pages or so into the first book, I found something I didn't know I was looking for: a description of a Limehouse opium den called Shenyan. In one exploit, in an attempt to infiltrate Fu Manchu's criminal organization, the characters Dr. Petrie and Nayland Smith set off to look for his hiding place. Disguised as opium smokers, they entered a shabby building by the Thames, which had the fake appearance of a barber shop. After passing layers of barriers, they were led upstairs to a dimly lit and suffocating opium den, where grotesque figures lay lost in their own worlds. The two protagonists, suspecting that Fu Manchu is hiding above the den, ran upstairs and across a covered gangway, arriving jaw-dropped at Fu Manchu's hide. It was not long before Dr. Petrie was ejected out of the building from a trap door, before being plunged into icy water and left fighting for his life. The next day, as I entered the building from Commercial Road, I saw parallels to the description of Shenyan everywhere. As I walked through the entrance, the empty lobby reminded me of the barber shop's disguise. Passing through layers of barriers underground, I emerged from a dark stair to find the events hall. The windows were left shuttered by the previous users. In the darkness, the tables lining neatly against the wall could be easily mistaken as the beds that lined the opium den described in the book. I dipped behind the curtains to go upstairs, as I pictured Dr. Petrie racing up the stairs and across the covered gangway. Like Dr. Petrie, I also arrived at an unexpected and spectacular space. In front of me was the sewing workshop, an airy space flooded with daylight, beautifully filtered by the lantern above. Through one of the fabric fragments, I caught a vague glimpse of the scene inside. At the center of the room, a group of women gathered around their instructor. Adding some imagination to the blurry imagery and muffled sounds, I could picture Fu Manchu being surrounded by his servants, plotting world domination behind his desk. I was stopped abruptly by the balustrade to the small pit that separates the workshop from the corridor. I was reminded of the trapdoor that expelled Dr. Petrie into the dark, icy waters. I looked down through the atrium and saw the basement 3 levels below. The tiled floor at the bottom of the atrium is arranged in the pattern of waves.